What are PayPal alerts and how can Disputifier help you? So PayPal alerts are basically Disputifier's way of letting, midgetating or managing your chargeback ratio or your dispute ratio on PayPal. This could be on PayPal wallet. This could be on a standalone PayPal account. Um, and basically with PayPal, customers have the ability to open up chargebacks, they open up inquiries before it actually becomes a chargeback. In most instances, we've seen this typically common with a lot of merchants across the board where they have inquiries more than the actual chargebacks that come in. It's more like a customer service or a customer query that's coming in. It could be, where's my order? It could be the fact that they received a damaged product or an incorrect product. So these sort of instances are where customers are reaching out through PayPal to open up an inquiry, right? So that's where Disputifier has created PayPal inquiries that you can leverage to benefit or to reduce your dispute ratio on PayPal or in PayPal wallet, right? So to turn this on, you actually go into PayPal alerts in the Disputifier application. You go into settings and you flick this button on, right? You're given three options to choose from. You could choose a day before it becomes a dispute. You could do that 2 days before it becomes a dispute, or you could choose to refund the inquiry immediately. Now, a point to note here is that this would only work in situations where a certain customer has opened up an inquiry before it leads to a chargeback. If they've directly opened up a chargeback, there's really no way to actually prevent that chargeback from coming in through through PayPal directly or through PayPal wallet as well. Which means that when that chargeback comes in, that does affect your overall chargeback ratio, or your dispute ratio in Shopify, if it's through Shopify payments, PayPal wallets through Shopify payments, or if you've got a standalone PayPal processor or a login that you're logging into, the way you would probably do it in the past, right? With a lot of merchants these days, specifically US based merchants, I've noticed that PayPal has actually made it sort of mandatory, or sorry, Shopify has actually made it mandatory for a lot of merchants to go ahead and create a PayPal wallet account rather than using the previously used standalone payment processor that you guys are using separately. So, in at the end of the day, deciding this is more of a business decision that you need to take, but there's obviously pros and cons to each one of them. So with immediate, right, the benefit here is that you're limiting the back and forth with any customer. There's no friction between a refund experience that the customer will get as compared to reaching out to them, trying to convince them, responding to that inquiry, which might go ahead and become a chargeback later on, right? So the disadvantage here is that you might receive certain, or you might be a business that receives a lot of queries that could be relevant to where's my order, right? So if an inquiry comes in for that, and you're setting immediate as an option, chances are you're, rather than satisfying the customer's needs to provide them with the accurate tracking information, to provide them the option for, even if they reach out to you and say, I haven't received the right product, you lose out on the option of negotiating with them and basically asking them for what they received in terms of, and offering like a replacement, making sure that the replacement tracking information is added into PayPal for them to actually be satisfied, right? You're obviously eliminating a lot of that in that point in time, but then you also have the option to refund 2 days before it becomes a dispute, right? Or a day before it becomes a dispute. This gives you a little bit more flexibility to be able to negotiate with the customer, provide them with more clarity. But at any point in time, if that customer is not satisfied with the response that you've received, that still gives them the option to open up a chargeback from an inquiry immediately. So in that point, and at that point, Disputifier or PayPal alerts would not be able to determine the time frame that they're looking to open up a chargeback. They can literally do it within minutes of you responding to their query, which could obviously backfire and obviously increase your dispute ratio on PayPal or PayPal wallet. So it's pretty simple to go ahead and set this up. And again, if you're using a separate PayPal account, and it's not through Shopify payments, you can actually go into the integration section here of Disputifier and make sure that you actually go ahead and integrate PayPal. There's a tutorial here it's pretty self-explanatory, that would actually go ahead and enable you, it would help you with the integration process. Once it's integrated, that's only when Disputifier would be able to provide you with alert services. If you're using Shopify payment, or if you're using PayPal wallet through Shopify payments, the integration is even simpler because Disputifier would require you collaborator access to your Shopify account, right? So when they request collaborator access to your Shopify account, that basically means that any transaction, irrespective of the sub processor, whether it's PayPal wallet, whether it's Apple Pay, Google Pay, Shop Pay, it would all come through into Disputifier as for Disputifier to handle those alerts there, right? So the basic principle for alerts is technically to ensure that any inquiries that come in are actually refunded before they decide they move over to a dispute or a claim stage or a chargeback stage, whether it's PayPal wallet or whether it's a standalone PayPal account, right? The other thing that you've got to note is that currently, because PayPal Wallet is a comparatively newer feature that Shopify has introduced, there is a little bit of a mix up in terms of the analytics, right? And those analytics are shown in your Shopify. When you go into the analytics section, you go into reports, you search on chargeback rate, you would actually see that a lot of these inquiries are actually contributing towards an increased chargeback ratio, which is what's shown up in Shopify, right? And since Disputifier picks up those analytics from Shopify directly, you would also be able to see like an increased chargeback ratio showing up in Disputifier. So the most recent update we have currently, after speaking with Shopify support, is that PayPal wallet inquiries do not contribute, even though they show up in the analytics section, they do not currently contribute towards your overall chargeback ratio. And there's actually no current way of determining the differentiation between PayPal alerts or PayPal inquiries and the overall chargeback ratio. They are working on a way to segregate those or separate both of them. So you would actually be able to see one section that will be towards your overall chargeback ratio, which would be, your card chargebacks, and any PayPal chargebacks that come in or PayPal wallet chargebacks that come in. However, and then the other section should essentially be all the inquiries which don't necessarily contribute towards your chargeback ratio. The principle is the fact that, yes, they're not contributing towards your overall chargeback ratio, but the way it's currently being displayed in Shopify and in Disputifier directly, which would probably be under this section that you would be able to see here, your overall chargeback ratio would show up, in this section, irrespective of the fact whether they contribute towards your chargeback ratio or not. But yeah, for clarity, any PayPal inquiries that come in, till they do not reach to the dispute or the claim stage, do not contribute towards your chargeback ratio. And what Disputifier's PayPal alerts does is it actually goes ahead and refunds that inquiry to prevent that from becoming a chargeback and contributing towards your chargeback ratio.